Take us through a little bit of what the past couple of days, past couple of weeks have been like for you.
Hello, hi. I think good afternoon, your time over there. I was here about 48 hours ago. So from Khartoum, I'm actually living in Omdurman. So I was just living by myself with my aunt. I was there for vacation, actually. So when everything kind of flipped 180 degrees, it was literally overnight that we just kind of thrown into chaos. The evacuation kind of took a little bit of time to get started. And it was just because the internet was not stable. The news was saying something, family members saying everything, something else. So we were just very confused as to who's eligible, who's not eligible to get on these flights. We had to rely more on family members outside actually of Khartoum to get us the latest updates, and specifically sisters, cousins, brothers, social media to help us join various WhatsApp groups so we can kind of stay connected on what safe routes are we supposed to do, what procedures are we supposed to do, who are we supposed to contact, where are we supposed to register. And that's how it all started. We were asked to register in the ROCA, for the Canadians abroad, and kind of wait for further instruction. But unfortunately, as you know, days and hours passed by, it was just they were not getting any kind of response back, and that's kind of when the panic hit. Would there be a plane for Canadians or not?
And you know, we actually spoke with someone yesterday who is in Ontario who is helping to get information, like you were just saying, through WhatsApp and whatever it might be, so that people who were on the ground had some of this information. My understanding was it was actually a Norwegian rescue team that ended up helping you. So what was that like once you were actually on that flight and were out of Sudan?
Yeah, so first we had to actually secure a ride there, Hillary. We had to actually find our own way to the base. And I was lucky enough to live within close proximity, which is a half an hour drive. And you have to understand that within this, 30-minute drive, it was kind of like trying to figure out, scramble, who lives next to you. I am by myself, a female by myself, getting in a car, a rental car, where there is fuel shortages and people getting robbed, people getting, nobody wanted to make that trek anywhere. It was it was on an absolute need basis that you're roaming the streets. So to secure a ride and then find somebody else to come with me, that in itself was kind of difficult. So when we did get to the base, it was just kind of like you just jump. You're just going to go there, you're going to stay, you're going to camp out and figure it out as you get there. So when we did get there, it was after sundown, after I don't know how many road stops we stopped, checkpoints we stopped, really. Got to the base, and we were approached by the Norwegian rescue team around 2 a.m. And they were just asking around, do you have a Canadian passport? Is it valid? Do you have it with you? And after all that, they kindly and graciously asked us to follow them into the hangar space where they could process us to get out, to be boarded on that plane with the other nationalities, mainly Norwegians.
So Razan, what was that like when that flight is actually finally in the air, when you're going down the runway and then it's in the air and you've managed, that this journey that you've been on, like you've been saying, difficult to even find a way to get to the airport. But once you're actually on that flight and out of the country, what was that like?
It was, I would say, like a huge sigh of relief. But Hillary, I just wanted to say that before, when we were asked to board the plane for the first time and we were processed, we were actually asked to disembark from the plane. The Norwegian staff came up to us and asked us to disembark because somebody from the Canadian side had said that Canadians were not allowed to be on this plane. So, and they didn't want to cause any conflict or problems. So they asked us to wait for the flight that was coming in the morning, which I myself had never even been contacted about and given any details of when it was going to arrive. So to be given a chance to get to safety and then have it ripped out of my hand, it was very heartbreaking. And then after an hour again, they I guess the two countries figured it out by themselves. And then we were asked to come back on the plane again. And that's when we finally actually took off to go to Amman.
Wow. Okay. So that's a bit of a roller coaster then,
Yeah,
emotionally, and in terms
exactly.
of in terms of how you're feeling about all of this. You know, Razan, we've heard from
Exactly.
a lot of people the past couple of days, Canadians who have managed to get out, and they seem to have similar stories to what you do. That you didn't feel like you had very good communication from Canadian officials. That it ended up being an allied team that actually managed to help get you out. What would be your message to Canadian officials about how this has been for you as a Canadian, a Sudanese Canadian who was trying to get out of this country, in terms of the experience that you had with communication from those Canadian officials? What would be your message to them?
I just think a little bit more organization would have been helpful, especially seeing as if another country just as capable as mine managed to do it within the first few days of the conflict. Yet I was asked to wait within the last day of the ceasefire, and even then, it was not even guaranteed. It was really like it was crushing. It was crushing. I don't want to say like I was a little bit let down, but I was in the mercy of somebody else's aid. I was just waiting for somebody else to extend their hand. It was not a good time.